This is a standard double room at the Ibis Pattaya. The first impressions are that it's clean, it's quite spacious, and it is fairly modern. Let's have a little look out of the window. This is a view facing away from the beach in the opposite direction. One quick thing to point out with the Ibis Pattaya is that there are two types of standard double room. This one has a desk, and there are others with a balcony on the side of the building facing the beach. I actually asked specifically for the double room with the desk. First of all, they're a little bit larger, but also I wanted a desk so I can sit down and work. The rooms with the balcony don't have a desk, so there's no real place to sit down and work on your laptop. Nice big wardrobes with plenty of storage. There's a safe down there, and then a space at the bottom for shoes. Just having a look next to that, and you even have a little fridge here and a couple of bottles of water tucked away in there. Plenty of space there for pulling out your suitcase or sitting down. And of course there's a telephone and a kettle with mugs and a small plate of fruit and plenty of water. They keep the water well stocked up, and of course there's a couple in the fridge as well. So there's no need to ever go thirsty. Moving around. There's the bed. It's quite a basic double bed with your standard duvet and sheets. The frame, pretty thin, but it's if you look in there, there's a double mattress with the protector on top. Easy for them to maintain and change if it's needed to. So I took that back in. Now, yellow walls and a basic print there. A couple of lights beside the bed for reading. And this is actually a new addition to the room that they've added in the last couple of years. It is the USB and USB-C power point. And I do like places with USB-C power points because it's particularly useful for any international travellers who don't always have the right plug adapters. The bathroom. Nice and spacious in there. What I like though is the tiles. There is this marble tile trim around the floor. Now, if you remember the Ibis in Greenwich, London, they'd done away with any kind of materials that could be expensive or subject to wear and tear and just replaced it with metal. So it's great to see a place where they actually have a nice attention to detail, particularly with the marble and the tiles. And it's floor-to-wall tiles. And then there's also this mosaic here next to the bathroom mirror, which is again another little attention to detail, which is great for a budget hotel. Fairly solid bathroom mugs there and a ceramic tray. It's a nice little touch because those are the kind of things that could be easily broken, particularly in a budget hotel. But they've added them there, whereas if you compare that to other places, other budget Ibis hotels, they just wouldn't have that. Shower, nice and large again. The floor to wall tiles and the marble trim. So I really like the bathroom, particularly for a budget hotel. It feels more premium than a budget hotel. Let's move back out. And now I'm going to mention something here which I've noticed a few times when I've stayed at this particular Ibis hotel. The floor in this room is the polymer floor that gives a wooden appearance. It's not real wood, but it's also not laminate flooring. Some rooms in this hotel still do have a light laminate floor, which is starting to get a little bit tatty in some of the rooms, subject to the usual wear and tear. The skirting boards around the room are quite nice, but they are a wood veneer. So there are places where the skirting boards are starting to get a little bit damaged and a little bit chipped. And this full-length mirror is obviously very useful and a hotel room essential. The TV. Now, when I mention this veneer that they have on the furnishings in here, you can see where it's starting to become damaged, which gives an indication of the age of the hotel room and when this kind of furniture was added and when it was renovated. Again, just a little bit of wear and tear now along this. It's actually MDF on the inside with a veneer. The TV, I'm not quite sure why they have this wooden case. It would be far easier to rip out the wooden case and just fix the TV onto the wall like most hotel rooms are doing nowadays. Get some fittings on the wall, have the TV a little bit higher, and keep the remote by the bed. And you wouldn't need this strange wooden casing. Just going back again to this wooden veneer fittings and furnishings that they have, you can see is getting a little bit of wear and tear now, and that's to be expected with a hotel room. That's because of it's MDF with the veneer. This is the kind of thing that I expect them to be looking at and thinking about in the next few years as they come to refurbish the rooms and replacing this with a material that's going to be a bit more durable and not suffer that. Because even though the wood, it can last a while, it might not give the best impressions for some of the guests. Which is sad, because then you end up with rooms like the Ibis in Greenwich, London, which are quite industrial looking with that, if you remember, that black floor. Just have a look at my other video for that and you'll see just how basic and industrial like it is, in order to avoid things like the MDF splitting bedside lamps. It's not a bad view looking out towards Bangkok or looking out towards the opposite direction from the sea. Let's have another little look around now, just so you get the full picture. Again, it's quite a spacious room. For a budget room, it's fairly spacious. This room is going to cost about 1,300 baht per night if you book on the Accor app. It might be a little bit more if you book on other platforms, or it might even be a little bit less. But it's ideal for people who are traveling to Pattaya regularly because it has everything you need. There's a nice breakfast downstairs, a clean lobby, the room has a decent bed, it's functional, it's clean, and it has those small amenities like a kettle, and the fridge means that if you are staying for longer, perhaps 3 or 4 days, this room would also be great because it's a great location, just a few minutes walk to the beach, and it's big enough to accommodate 2 people in this room, or if you do have more, there are rooms with a double bed or a single bed or a twin beds. So suitable for regular travellers, but also suitable for holiday makers who are staying in Pattaya for 3, 4, even up to a week. This is the kind of thing that's useful just for putting out your suitcase and sitting down. Lay out your suitcase on there, or use it just to sit down and relax. No sofa or no armchair in the room, and that's the kind of feature that just separates a budget, a basic room from a room that has just a little bit more luxury, a little sofa or a chair where you can relax and read a book. So perhaps not the kind of room that you'd want to spend too long in, but it is suitable for, I'd say, up to 4 or 5, even a week. So now we've seen the room, I'm going to just show you the lobby as well and the pool outside, because that's a nice area. There's plenty going on there. Let's go and have a look at that.